Microsoft Loop is been growing in popularity with 365 users. It is an application that is launched in public preview, and it is directly trying to compete with the growth of a wiki application that many of us know, Notion. Today we're going to go over 10 key features and tips that Microsoft Loop has inside of it that if you're looking at it to activate it for you and your team, that you might want to consider as key features. These will pick up on small elements of features, but definitely ones that differentiate it from other applications that are on the market in the wiki space right now. So welcome, my name is Francesco D'Alessio. I have an obsession with productivity applications. We cover lots of them, and we've recently released something called Toolfinder, which will help you find the perfect productivity application. So you can find that linked in the description below. There'll be more depth on Microsoft Loop there if you're looking to get a better overview of it with some videos and resources there. Today's video is brought to you by Freedom. Now, for those who don't know what Freedom is, it's an application that allows you to block websites and apps and distractions and help you to focus in on what matters. So I want to highlight 3 things that Freedom does really well. The first of those is to work across all of your devices to not only block websites but apps as well, so that you can block those distractions that are getting in the way of deep focused work. And it can do that all at the same time across all of your devices. Now, secondly, you can also schedule a focus session or actually create recurring sessions as well, so that you can really set time on what matters and really align that to what you're working on during the day. You can also use focus sounds to improve the intensity of those sessions as well inside of the Freedom app. And finally, there is a locked mode, which can really be the beast mode activation for your distractions. It really will lock you in and stop you from using these different apps and websites and really help those on those days that particularly willpower is bad. Now, Freedom is used by over 2.5 million people around the world, students, entrepreneurs, professionals alike that really want to get some better focus. And a Freedom users report says it saves them around 2.5 hours a day in time. And that focus time is really important to really get things done that matter to you. So you can check out Freedom in the link in the description, and a big thanks to Freedom for sponsoring today's feature. So there are so many different features in Microsoft Loop, and it's nowhere near from being really done yet in terms of its fully public availability, in terms of it not being in preview. So let's start with the first one, and that is Jumpstart. Now, this is a really interesting content suggestion feature. So when you do set up a new workspace in Loop, what it will do is it will take all of your Microsoft 365 account, search all of the files in there, all of the graph data, and essentially pull together recommendations on what to put in your Microsoft Loop workspace. What's nice about this is if you type in a keyword, it will use the AI to essentially find related ones, scanning those documents and making sure they're relevant to the creative workspace that you want to build. This is really helpful because you can bring in things that have already been done and really save a lot of time setting up your Loop workspace and pages. So you actually have to enable Jumpstart inside of the experimental settings. Well, that's what at least I see on my account, and it's definitely something that will help to enhance it if you're already a 365 user. The second feature is comment emojis. One of the nice things is you can actually comment inline with an emoji. There's not too many in terms of actual availability. I think there's heart, thumbs up, and a smiley face, but it's a great way to see stuff inline and reactions as people type away. I really like this feature, and comments also come in line, which means you can see them and respond to them in a much better fashion. So that's one of the features that I do like in Loop. Number 3 is a feature that is in the top left-hand corner. It's ideas. You will see recent and ideas. Recent, essentially everything you're currently working on, the most recent thing. But ideas is where you can create private areas of thoughts and processes and maybe mock-ups that you're not quite ready to share inside of your workspace yet. But you can quickly drag it down and naturally make it as part of the workspace. But what's really nice is it's just a holding bay for ideas that you can collaborate on with other people that aren't officially part of the workspace yet. Number 4 is show and hide in tables. This is a feature that will allow you to make some of your tables look less intense. For example, if you've got a table that's maybe 10 columns, 12 columns, 14 columns, you can really reduce that down by showing and hiding particular columns inside of a table. This will save you a good amount of time. Number 5 is the ability to create a basic task list. Now, to be honest, this is very basic. It will give you an assignee and a due date, but it's pre-built and available through the / command. So you can type in task list and it will instantly be able to populate. And it's a great way to save a bit of time getting rolling on a task list, and naturally you can convert that into a Microsoft Loop component. Number 6 is the share locations of your components. If you've created a Loop component, which is essentially a transferable little component that you can share between teams, and it's basically in real time. I'm sure Steve will show some demonstrations on the screen, but essentially you can find where it's been shared and in the location that it is currently. So if you can see it being edited in email, this is a great way to keep a trail of it. Not version history, but a good way to see where it's currently being stored and utilized inside of your team. And you can also jump to that area if you are part and have that access shared in components. Number 7 is status inline comments. So for example, if you wanted to add a label for something relevant in a page at the top of it, for example, in progress, or even a label like what tag this relates to, you can actually add that at the top by pressing / command label. This appears in line and you can actually change it from here, changing the colors, details, and naturally the tag itself. But this is a really nice ability for being able to get glance over information about what's on the Loop page itself. Next up is the voting column in tables. This is a small addition, but the column type can be added voting, and you can actually start voting kicking off inside of a table here. It's a nice little plugin and a pre-built one that Microsoft have created for tables. Number 9 is the ability to add any page you're on into another workspace from quickly adding to workspace. This is a neat feature that will save you time if you want to duplicate it or add it to another relevant area. And number 10 is @mentioning files. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, @mentioning is helpful to tag people, but you can actually add files from your 365 account. This is particularly helpful because this isn't something that requires an API. It actually is built in, so it connects to what Microsoft products you already have, and naturally you can bring it in a lot faster, and also find everything if you're already using 365. So Microsoft Loop is currently in its early days, and it is something that is, as you can imagine, in public preview, but not really anywhere near Notion. If you're looking for a full overview of what Microsoft Loop is and how it works, we have a full tutorial, and we will soon be coming out with a Microsoft Loop versus Notion video, which I think you'll find pretty helpful. So before we go, we have a brand new site called Toolfinder. You can find the perfect productivity tool there and discover which one is perfect for you and your team. I'm excited, so do check that out in the link in the description. But if you want any more tips and tricks on Microsoft Loop, feel free to subscribe to us. We have plenty more in the works. So thank you very much, folks, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Cheerio.